Okay, here's another wiring thing that I'm going to show you. So down in here, I don't know whether you can see. I can't see. Oh yeah, up in there, there is the pre-intercooler temperature sensor, and the wire runs up here, across here, and then to here. And because now I'm drive-by-wire, I have my leftover TPS wiring, and I've worked out that green, let's just say green is AN volt 2, white is sensor ground, and then the orange is 5 volt. Okay, so this is actually still wired up and going to the ECU. How did I know what it was hooked up to? All right, so what I did was I went and I went into one of my old tune files. So this is when it was 98. This is when it was first ever set up. And I opened it up and I went to analog inputs and I looked at what TPS main was wired to, so AN volt 2. I then opened up my new file and I just checked if there is anything on AN volt 2, and there isn't anything set to it. So either that wire is dangling in there disconnected, or it's still in that port, it's just been switched off. Okay, so then what we do is we go to the help file and we look for mine's a Link Fury. If yours is a different one, just type it in, but I got the Link Fury pin out. And so we said that AN volt 2, which is here, that's where that green TPS wire is going to. Just ignore these colors. Those are what the factory flying, the flying loom that you buy comes as. But that's where that green wire should be going. And what we need to take it to, probably what I didn't show you, is, see how I've got a spare AN temp 4? So this is in my latest file when I'm on E85 and drive-by-wire. So AN temp 4. So what I'm going to do is take the wire from AN volt 2 and stick it in the position of AN temp 4. So looking at the two connectors, A connector, B connector, AN volt 2, which is over here somewhere, and we're going to take it and we're going to put it in position temp 4. So from volt 2 to temp 4, and that's then one of the wires. And if we have a look here, the IAT sensor needs 2, so it needs the signal, which will be that green wire that's going to temp 4, and then it needs a sensor ground. Well, it just so happens that the TPS already has a sensor ground. Okay, sorry, the sensor ground is the green. So in AN volt 2, there should be a white wire. Okay, and that white wire needs to go to temp 4, and then the green wire, which is a sensor ground, which is what we already need, we just pin that to this plug. So green one side for the sensor ground, white for the signal, and that should work. There is a way of checking these are actually off a different sensor ground but this is what I was talking about, where I loop back the wires. So there's a single wire going to this connector, and then these are all connected so that when I need to add something new, see I've added 2 new items here. Want to add something new, I just pull this out, put a new pin, and then Bob's your uncle, that's a new sensor ground. So if I really had to, I could run a fresh wire to this group of sensor grounds, but since I've already got the green wire from the TPS, which is my ECU is up under behind here, and I'm gonna have to pull it out anyway. I'm not gonna do it right now, but yeah, these were some other stuff that I did for, what did I do, the drive-by wire, a bunch of other shit, but those are the sensor grounds, and 5 volt as well. That's how I split them. You can see up the back there, they're bunched up. So anyway, let me get this panel out of the way and I'll try and find these wires. All right, so I've got my got my panel off, got my aircon vent disconnected, and just here's the ECU. It's kind of hard to film. And there's ECU, plug A, plug B. We're going to dig into plug A and find that AN volt 2, which is kind of in the middle there somewhere, and then take it over to temp 4 on this one. I'm not going to film this because it's annoying, but yeah, that's where the ECU sits, up in under there, and it's kind of tucked away behind this vent that connects up there. But it's pretty simple. You just unplug your connectors. Look, I'll unplug connector A, and if your loom has been done properly with good strong wire, you're not going to go breaking anything. You do have to be careful. Here's a bit of my randomness. These are, what are these? The clutch switch, the brake switch for the cruise control, and something else. Oh yeah, the wire coming from the actual cruise control switch. But yeah, they just sit in there hidden. Don't you worry about the messiness. I mean, yeah, look, you can zip tie it all up. Like this other stuff is all from, apart from these two guys, this other stuff is all from the auto electrician that did mine. Like, and the more you zip tie it together and make it nice and neat, when you have to come back and do something like this, the worse it is. So there is a point where you want it organized, but you don't want it that organized. So anyway, I'm going to find these 2 wires, make sure that they're there, and swap them over, etc, etc. I'll be back. All right, I've got you guys on a tripod now. So this is the A plug that I have unplugged, and we want the 3rd row. So 1, 2, 3, and according to my wiring diagram, which I have here, it's the 4th wire in, AN volt 2. And that's the only hiccup, is to make sure you remember. So I always write everything down, because it's very easy to get confused. You know, AN volt 4, AN temp 2, just, yeah, write it down. So I'm looking for AN volt 4, which I know is in the A plug, 3 rows down. So if I get my pick, I go through here. See, this is why you use good quality Tefzel wire, because it and good crimps. So 1st row, 2nd row, 3rd row, and then we've got, I don't know whether you can see that, but we've got a black, a blue, a white, and a white. So did we say the 4th one in? Yep, 4th one in. So it's this little white guy here, which is this one here that I'm holding with my fingers. Hang on. This one here. What I could actually do is, so third row down, fourth one in, so it's actually this one here. What I could do is get a multimeter and beep that out by putting it on there and checking it at the other end. I'm pretty confident that that's the right one. So what I'm going to do is push down these locks, or push up this lock, push up that lock. Okay, now making sure that we only pull the correct wire out, because this is where you can become unstuck. You can pull out other wires, so just check that everything else is home. Just get everything and push back in. All right, and then lock yourself back, and then just have a visual inspection that nothing has pulled out. See how there's no wire there anymore? So we're third row down, fourth in, so that's the wire that we want. Might just see if we can get it a bit looser, because it's now got to come over to the B plug, which, oh yeah, here's our B plug here. Here's our B plug here. So if I grab my wire, wherever it's gone, here it is here. When that goes back into the ECU, that will be there, and this one will be there. But I am going to see where it's going. I might give it a little bit of a tug, see if I can find... push it through. I just push it through and see if I can get it. Yeah, see, it's all up in a bundle over there. All right, I'm going to get free, because that's going to be a lot easier to work with. And then I'm going to tuck my A plug back under there. And then I'm going to work out in this B loom where it's got to go. So we're going to AN temp 4. And luckily temp 4 is in the top row. It's that one. Third one along. Yeah, temp 4. So if we have a look in the back, see that spare one there? So that's going to be AN temp 4. So we're just going to take this white guy, stick him in up there. I'll show you guys. Can you see now? Just there. AN temp 4. That is not populated. So don't know whether you guys can see, because my big fat hand's in the way. There's no lights. Okay. I'll see if I can show you before the camera falls over. Just there is where it's going. All right. So then we're going to plug it back in. I think I might ohm out from this sensor ground doodad here to the green wire, just to make sure that it is going to a sensor ground. Although, anyway, I'll figure out whether or not the other wire works, because we only need 2 wires. And then I need to go into the computer and configure AN temp 4 for that particular sensor. Okay, so I've swapped that white wire over. That's ready to be plugged back in. And I was thinking, okay, there's got to be a way of finding out whether this green is still a sensor ground. And then I realized that the fuel pressure sensor is here, and that uses a sensor ground, and lo and behold, there is a green. Thankfully, the guy who did the wiring for me originally uses the same colors, because his 5 volt, it appears to be orange. I think mine's brown, and his sensor ground is green and mine's blue, but don't worry about that. Anyway, that green ohms out to this green, and my fuel pressure sensor works. So that means that that's a sensor ground. So fuel pressure sensor has 5-volt signal in the middle and a sensor ground. And so that green is the sensor ground. So what I am now going to do is chop off those two. I'll probably leave this connector still on this 5-volt here, that'll just hold it so it doesn't you know, arc out anywhere. And I also then know what this random orange wire is, and we'll put the other side of the Deutsch connector on here, and then hook up our green and our white. It doesn't have a polarity on the sensor, so it doesn't matter if I've hooked it up back to front. But yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Put a Deutsch connector on here, plug it in, tuck all the wire away, plug the ECU connectors back in. Before I tuck that away, I'm just going to log in and calibrate the sensor just before I finalize everything, in case I've made a mistake or there's something wrong with the wiring. But yeah, that's about it. I hope some of those tips were helpful. If you can't find the calibration data, this is it here, comes with the sensor. Just Google online. There's plenty of people who have got random sensors that don't come with the information, and people are very helpful in helping you set it up in the software as well. So especially when you need to do a custom cal table, that is something that you should look up. But yeah, if this is helpful, leave us a like, click subscribe so other people can find my random crappy videos, and thanks for watching. Wish me luck.